Hey everybody, Steve Burns here. So I figured I would share with you another example of compositing video, and I'm going to use a waterfall in this one. So this is a simple example of actually this is the raw file of a waterfall taken up at Sculpting Fall up in Seattle. And I also have the video version here, and if I pull this on over so you can see the bigger version, we'll go ahead and play that, and you get to see what I've recorded here. Okay, so the idea here is I figured I would use a landscape type concept again and use to composite this video. And I'm going to start with a couple of images. I'm going to start with this one here. Okay, taking a look at that. This was shot past the Golden Gate Bridge in Northern California, and again this was specifically shot for compositing purposes. So I love the rock formations. I figured it might be a great background scene, and then I also shot this one for a very nice foreground scene. All right, so I got a little bit low to the ground, got this these lines leading it back into the back toward the rear of the photograph. So I'm going to go ahead and composite this one into this particular scene. So I'm going to select them both. And let's go over to Tools menu and go to Photoshop. And then right over here I have Load Files into Photoshop Layers. So I'm going to target that there. And then we're going to go into Photoshop and watch it do its magic. Okay, there we are. It's loaded for us already in layers. So what I'm going to do now is start blending them together, so to speak, using our layer mask. But first we need to change them to a smart object. So I'm going to right click, smart object, do the same for the other. There we are. So we're in a non-destructive editing mode. I'm going to turn off the top layer, and we can see the one on the bottom is actually physically smaller. So I'm going to go ahead and resize it. There you are. Hit my Command T. I'm holding the Shift key to constrain the proportions. Okay. There we are. It's good enough. There we are. So it's not that much resizing. Turn this back on. Now looking at the lighting on both, the lighting is coming from the left side on this particular image. Now if I turn on the top image, the lighting's coming from the opposite side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to target the top. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to flip that one, edit, transform, and go ahead and flip horizontal. There we are. Okay, so what I like to do is move this up and composite this into the scene. However, I don't have enough, the composition's wrong. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the composition. I'm going to hit the C key for my crop tool, and as you can see here, I'm going to pull this up. There we are. Give that a nice hold. It's going to give it just a little more space so that I have something to work with. Okay, I'm going to pull that around and position it like so. All right, hit the Enter key. Hit the V key for the Move tool. And I accidentally did two of those, by the way. All right, so I'm going to get an idea how I would like to position this in here. And I'm going to take this, and I'm thinking about going to like a darken blend mode. There we are. So it's just enough transparent information to kind of give me an idea as how I want this to look. Okay, so I'm going to position it. I'm thinking somewhere about here. In fact, I'm going to hit just transform this, holding the Alt or Option key down, and the Shift allows me to constrain it with Shift, but Alt or Option moves from the center point. Oops, there we go. Pull this on back. All right. And I just want to go off the borders just a little bit. I think that's going to work kind of nicely. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to build a little cliff over here for which the waterfall is going to fit into. But I wanted something of interest in the foreground. So what I'm doing is sharing with you ways to be creative. Okay. I'm going to turn it off, go to the normal blend mode, and we're going to add a layer mask. And we're going to utilize our brush, our walking pen, to actually to blend that in there. Now again, I have pressure sensitivity, so if I go over here to my brush properties, third icon from the left, I can come over to the transfer information, make sure that pen pressure is selected, so I can paint very gently to decide how this is all going to fit in here. Okay, so just very gently, I'm going to start blending things in. There we go. Decide what to keep, what to make go away. I think I'll bring in another bit of information back here. And I can always go back and take it away. And I think I'm going to go back a little bit. Hit the X key on the keyboard. Now painting with white to bring some of that back. So I liked some of this stone over here. There we are. I liked some of that stone. Get in a little closer, zoom in, make sure I do a little bit more fine editing of the stone, make it look like it's actually blending in there with everything else. Okay, and just to gently bring that shadow back through there from the previous photograph. And let's bring this back here. I think I'm also going to bring back a little more of the other stones all the way through here. Okay, I like that. I think that'll work. Bring this on down, bring the brush a little smaller. I'm working abstractly, just kind of seeing how this looks. If I'm liking what I'm seeing, I'm going to keep it, which is exactly what's happening in the process. Kind of allowing my subconscious to work here. Just kind of let your spirit guide you. And there we are. That's nice. Okay, that's going to work. I'm going to make the brush a little bigger, press down a little bit harder on my Wacom pen to bring back some of this other detail. All right, I'm going to bring it on back. That's not looking too bad. Now I'm looking at the color differences between the middle one and the top one. So the one on top here is actually colder in hue than the one on the bottom. Now colder meaning it's toward the blue spectrum of light. Now I'm going to target this. Now it's a smart object, so I'm going to go ahead and give a Command M, which is going to apply a curves to it, or you can go to the image adjustment and apply curves that way. Okay, so I'm going to pull this on over. Let's go ahead and pull them side by side. And I think that this top one here is a little bit too cold compared to the one on the bottom. So I'm going to come right over here, go to my blue, and pull out the blue a little bit. There we are. Just a little bit. So we don't want to go too warm, so it's too much yellow. Makes it too obvious. Just a tad bit. Now it's starting to give more of a greenish look to it. So I'm going to come over to the green, and I'm going to go right into the midtones and pull it out just a bit. Not that much, just about like so. Okay, it's not looking too bad. It's looking pretty good. Now the one on the bottom, I'm thinking that a little bit too bright. Let's kind of get the contrast matching our other photograph here. So go ahead and apply a curves to that one as well. All right, let's put it right to the side. And if you notice, I've targeted the bottom layer. And let's put a point in the middle, so I want to affect a lot of the midtones here. So pull it down. There we go. That's it. That's a little nicer. All right, I think that's going to work. Let's go ahead and target OK. So I want to expand this up and start to recreate some of this cliff section here. I'm going to use our imaginations there as well. I'm going to go back into Bridge and see what I have in there that I think just might work. And I'm just basically using my imagination at this point. So I'm looking at, there's a couple of possibilities. I have this one here. Now I also have this one here. I think I'm going to use this one. Let's go ahead and open that up. It's a JPEG. Double click it. All right, so what I would like to have is just this mountain scene here. I'll go right on over, grab my magic wand to select that sky. Then I'm gonna go ahead to my select menu because I want to just get the pixels to crop into the top portions to get rid of the sky. So select menu, modify. Now I could go ahead and expand it, or let's inverse the selection, which is Command Shift I. So once it's there, I can do something like go to my, let's go back into Photoshop. select the mask, and decide just how this is going to look. Okay, there we are. So select the mask. I've got it set here to view this as the image, exactly what we're going to see. And I can also change the background as to how to view this. I can change it to something like a mask itself. I can change it to a selection. Okay. I can change it on black. All right. Okay. And I can adjust the opacity so I can make the black really dark. And as you can see here, I'm seeing a little bit more of that sky coming through, right? So if I get in a little closer, we get to see what's going on here. Now, I think what I'm going to choose to do is go to Smart Radius here. And you can see it's trying to detect those edges there. I'll bring the radius over a little bit more to give it the ability to detect that edge a little bit better. Now let's go over to my brush. And if I just take the brush and bring it across and wipe it across, it's going to try to detect what I want to keep even better. Okay, so I'm going to click that Smart Radius once again. Okay, that's actually going to go back on this one. There we are. Okay, so Smart Radius is detected. Let's go backwards. I'm just undoing that. And what you're going to do is right over here to your left, you're going to see this little toolbar. Okay, pull it on over. And I'm going to select this one here. The one right after this first one. Let's move it out of the way. And watch what happens. I'm going to give it a softer edge, and then I'm going to wipe across. And as I wipe across, it does a better job. It's cleaning up those edges. Okay, it's looking good. All right, we can come in here and we can smooth this out a little bit more if we like, which I don't want to. I can also feather this a little bit, make it get a little closer so it's easier to see. I don't really want to feather it. It's done a pretty darn good job. I want to maintain some of the character of the bush detail here at the top. All right, so once I'm done, I think what I'm going to do is just go ahead and give it a selection. Okay. And we're going to commit our changes. So I'm going to hit the OK in the bottom. There. I have the selection. Now, why did I choose a selection instead of a mask? Because I basically want to drag this whole thing on top of the other image. Windows, arrange, tile them side by side, hit the V key for the move tool, and just bring it on over. Okay, and there's my, now it's behind the top. Let's go ahead and just put that on the very top. Let's go ahead and alter that into a smart object. Okay, immediately we get rid of the other one. We don't need it anymore. And here we are. I'm gonna go one more. Now I've got a black ground in my standard full frame mode. Now I can show you how to change that. I'm gonna give this a little bit darker than a medium gray. And let's go over here to my paint bucket. Hit the shift key and click on the background. That'll change the background color. All right. I think I've shared that with you once before. Now we're going to start creating our landscape here. So I'm going to replace this with a wall here where we can actually put our waterfall into. Now, as you can see, we have a, let's turn that off. We need to change the composition a little bit. So hit the C key for the crop tool, bring it on up. There we are. So give it some space. You can just go as far as you want temporarily. You can always recrop it later. Let's go ahead and turn this on. Hit the V key to move it around. Now, if you want to do something like an overlay, or better yet, let's try something like a lighten, just to see where things are. Sometimes I find it better to stay in normal and just bring down the opacity a little bit, and just give an idea where I want that to go. Okay. I'm kind of getting a feel for this. Yeah, I think this will work quite nicely. I want to take it to right about here. I'm going to bring up the opacity. And what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to start taking away the bottom portion. And I'm going to give it a layer mask. Hit the B key for my brush. Use my imagination. Just gently take it away. And let's see what we get. Okay. Now I'm thinking, I'm going to turn this off and on. I'm thinking blending this here. And I'm also thinking of changing the contrast. Let's go to Command T. See what this is going to give me right about there. Okay. Okay, I think that'll work quite nice. Okay. And hit enter. Let's turn that off and on. Okay. Now what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to paint this in. I'm going to change that contrast, Command M. All right. And what that is also the same thing as going into curves. Pull this down. There we are. There we are. Give it a little contrast. Now, if we take a quick look at this, if we look at this here, you can see that the lighting is coming from the wrong direction on this top hill. So I'm going to go up here, go to my edit menu. We're going to flip that as well. So edit transform. Let's go ahead and flip that horizontally. There. Okay. Now we're going to change this. I'm going to use my mask to edit this. So I'm going to come right over here, right click on the image, and we're going to go grab a square brush. And we've used them before, especially in some of the texturing projects, I should say. And I'm going to target this one here. This one, I believe I have the rotation set up. I think this is the tilt, but I'm going to come over here because I'm using the art pen. So I'm going to transfer, and for my shape dynamics, let's go over here to the set of pen tilt. Give it pen rotation. Now you're going to use tilt if you have the standard stylus, because that's the way you're going to get this to, for lack of a better term, rotate. Okay. I have on my art pen rotation. There we go. That's going to make it a lot easier for me. Go ahead and save this one. Brush. And click OK. I'm going to close that out. Now I'm going to resculpt this. So I'm going to edit the mask here. All right. So I'm going to start sculpting away as if this is the landscape. And it's going to come down to the edge here. We can etch into the rock, bring it up to the side, and just redo this, okay? All right. It's not bad. Okay, I'm going to etch this, turn this around, etch it into a little bit. And I think what I like to do is come over here and duplicate that layer. So Command J once again, hit the V key. And I want to keep the direction of the light, but I'm going to bring this down like so. Command T for free transform and squish it a little more. There we go. And I'm hit enter, commit my changes. I'm going to go to that brush, that soft edge brush that I had. I'm going to come up here and grab it. There we are. Okay. Editing with black. So take this away from over here. I'm going to blend these together. And I think here I forgot to go to my transfer. I want both selected for pen pressure, for opacity and flow. And I'm going to save that brush. Forgot to save the last one. Okay, let's close that on out. And I'm going to just gently blend things in here. And hit the X key and start to bring things back in here. So this is going to be in the background. Okay. Just gently put it in. So get in close if we need to. And I'm going to gently take it out. Hit the X key and I'm taking it out. And go ahead, and that's nice. Okay. That'll work. All right, go back to my brush. that little square brush that I had created. So I'm going to right click. Should be that one right there. And I'm just going to come over here and tidy this up. I'm going to etch it out. Give it some cliffs coming up there. Angle this down a little bit. There we are. Here. And then of course we can start to add all types of little foliage techniques up here. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Okay, that's going to work quite nice. So I'm just using my imagination, thinking of other ways to reshape the landscape. And the whole idea for your project is that you're going to use composited photographic imagery that you're going to composite your video into. And it doesn't have to be landscape. It doesn't have to be ocean or beach scenes. You can use cityscapes. You can use anything moving. Impress me, basically. That's what I'm asking. All right. So I've got a basic composite. I see a little bit of the sky coming through, which is actually from the bottom here, isn't it? So if I turn this off and on, it's actually coming from this image on the bottom. So I'm going to target it, give it a layer mask, and of course just take that away. So I'm going to paint with black to make sure I'm on the right layer. If I turn that off and on, actually I was on the wrong layer, wasn't I? Let's go to this one. There. Already has a mask associated with it. And we're just going to etch that away, get rid of that sky. We can always bring back in our own sky, which I think I will do. Let's go ahead and hit Command, go back to Bridge, which is Command Shift O. Okay, and let's take a look at some of these here. See if I have anything that I think is going to work really well. I don't know. Let's give that one a try. Okay, and get my V key. Let's go pull this out just a little bit and just drag it on in. Let's see how we can make this work. I'm going to give that a smart object. Okay. And I'm going to go down to the bottom. The very bottom. Let's bring that on up. There she is. Command T. Okay. There we are. The little sky is also being lit with the lighting a little bit coming from the left. Okay, I'm exploring, experimenting. I think that works. Okay. Okay. All right, so shall we get our waterfall to bring that in? Let me a quick little example. In fact, I tell you what, before we do so, let's actually take these two images and I'm going to group them. So Command G, they're grouped. And in that group, I'm going to use that group. I'm going to add a curves to the group as a whole, so I can treat it as a single layer. So I'm going to give this a clipping path utilizing the curves. We pull this up a little bit so we can see our curves mechanism here. And if I pull that down, there we go. See, so I've got, it's now, that's serving as my background information.